Greetings friends and fellow aliens, and welcome to video 10 out of 10. We're finally at the end of this series on cognitive distortions. If you've missed some of the other videos on this, I would encourage you to go back and just start from the first one. Polarized thinking, they all just kind of set up, they are independent, but I'm referencing a lot of other ones within the videos. So it's important to just get the whole picture of everything as we're going through. I really hope that these have helped, and I hope that this one helps as well, because this one is about always being right. Okay, always being right. Look, this is that cognitive distortion, right? Your cognitive distortions are these ways that you think that can be toxic to yourself. And this is kind of why I wanted to cover all of these in a series like this, because they all just kind of go together. They all just sort of glom together, and there's a lot of overlap. They're not exactly individual things. There's elements of ones within other ones and so on and so forth, but they all have the same kind of effect, which is to hold you back from being happier, hold you back from being a fulfilled person, and hold you back from really trying to move forward on the things that you dream about and you love and that you want in this world for yourself and for those around you. Always being right hits on this. Have you ever had that conversation with somebody that had a differing opinion from you, and no matter how hard you tried, it was just this constant, never-ending, infinite intellectual battle about your points going absolutely nowhere because one or the other of you was determined that the other one acknowledged that you are right? If you've ever had a political discussion on Facebook, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or Twitter, which is just with less characters, which is kind of like more annoying because it's Twitter. This is probably the biggest cognitive distortion in the world, to be perfectly honest. And this is the one where people feel like that it's so important for them to be correct, to validate their own opinion, that they will absolutely go to any length to bludgeon you to pieces with argument over argument over argument, most of which are based off of logical fallacies anyway, just to kind of twist it all in order to be labeled correct. Now, again, like the other ones, this tends to hit on that black and white thinking. This tends to hit on that polarizing thought, right? And a little bit of that overgeneralization. A lot of these cognitive distortions that I talked about in the prior videos all just kind of meld into this cognitive distortion of this need to be right. And a lot of times you're doing this to validate things that you're thinking and feeling because you are unable to self-validate it. You're unable to say, this is my principle, this is what it is, this is what I believe, this is what I think, and that's it. And I accept that some people may disagree with that. And you can disagree. And that's fine. You have to understand that if you have an opinion on an issue, on really just about anything, it can be anything. If you have an opinion and somebody does not share that opinion, that doesn't make them wrong. That makes them somebody who disagrees. And they will have their own visions and their own version of why they disagree, and their own principles and their own upbringing and experiences and everything that molds that opinion the way it is. To take somebody's entire life and way of thinking and say, well, you're just wrong, well, that's pretty extreme. Now, granted, there are some topics where, yes, there is absolutely a right and a wrong. But in a lot of cases, these disagreements and this need to always be right, what I'm talking about in terms of a cognitive distortion is going to these extreme lengths to argue this point over and over and over again when it is in fact an opinion. We can all agree that murder is bad, right? So if you're arguing with somebody that's saying, no, murder is great, all right, you have a point to argue and make your points and be correct about it. Murder is bad. We can all agree. That's just been something throughout the majority of human history that we can all just pretty much settle on is like, all right, can we just all agree that we shouldn't be killing other people? Yes. Okay, cool. you're right. Congratulations. And if you're talking to somebody who's disagreeing with that, well, you pretty much have to realize, like, if you're disagreeing with that and you believe murder is fantastic and should just be legal and everything should be like the Purge, maybe it's not really fruitful to have a conversation with that person. But if we started to get into the discussion of how our government should be conducted, how taxes should be applied, how things should be working out in terms of being fair or equitable, et cetera, now you're getting into very nuanced arguments, and people are going to have differing opinions on you. It does not mean that they want the world to burn. It doesn't mean that they're Hitler or a Nazi or anything else. Likewise, it doesn't mean that they just want everything to be like North Korea, where normally it's just like Florida. Yes, I am picking on both North Korea and Florida. Love you, Florida. You're fine. North Korea, not so much. But this need to continue on with the argument to always be right, it gets to that point where you are in fact trying to validate your own opinion and feeling over something. You're trying to say that this is what I believe, and I need you to validate it so bad that I'm going to argue it until I am blue in the face and you do so. It's a little bit of that control fallacy as well. It's that idea that you can control the way somebody's think. If you just bash them in the head with all of your opinions and facts and stuff you looked up on Google and that was on Wikipedia or whatever else, and you do that long enough that they're just going to come around. Look, have you ever had a discussion online where you argued with somebody for 4 hours across 300 different posts, and at the end of it, they were like, you know what? You did change my mind. No, of course not. Nobody's had that. That has literally never happened in the existence of the internet. If it has, I challenge you to find it and send me a link, because I'm going to frame it and put it on my wall. That's just evidence of hope for humanity, I suppose. So have you fallen victim to this? Have you been that person that just wanted to bludgeon somebody to pieces, arguing with them until you were blue in the face because you had this need to be right? And you couldn't just step back and say, all right, I respect your opinion. I feel differently, and I'm sure there's common ground that we can find. People aren't really reasonable anymore, and everything is just hyper-polarized. And it is to the detriment of us, because a lot of times when you're with a group of people and you have that need to be right, you are preventing everything from moving forward. And likewise, if you are with somebody that has that need to be correct in all of their arguments all of the time, are you feeding into that? In my view, it's better to just disengage with people that are like that. I may state my opinion, I may issue it, and eventually I may get attacked on a personal level, at which point all of my suspicions are confirmed. This person is just a judgmental asshole. They don't care about what I think or what I say. They're just trying to validate themselves because most likely they are insecure about their own opinions and they need that validation. I don't need it. So neither do you. That brings us to the end of our 10 video series on cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortion sounds like a metal band, doesn't it? It's probably a band out there. Anyway, I hope these have helped. I hope you've enjoyed this series. Please comment below about always being right. Let's see some arguments where you're always being right, because if you just keep arguing back and forth in the comments, it's engagement, and this video will do well. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching the series. If you haven't seen the other videos, please check them out. Some great stuff and all of that. And I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been a lot of videoing over a long period of time. I recorded all of these in one day and just trying to post them up to get some more content out there to you. And I hope they've helped. So thank you. If you haven't already, please considering donating or joining the channel. We have a membership group going on that's really fun on Facebook. It's for members only. There's membership only content as well. And I'm still producing this kind of stuff, throwing it out there and hoping that it resonates with you. So thank you for supporting me and for supporting these efforts in this channel. And I will see you again very, very soon.